Hello, good evening, everyone. Sorry for the delay with this interview. Um, the My wife just came back from work with Jollibee, so the family had late dinner. So I'm so sorry about that. But good evening, everybody, and good evening, Aidan. Thank you again. Before we start the interview, thank you very much for coming
No worries.
for this interview.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
yeah. So. So good evening, guys. If you are watching this live interview with Aidan, please hit the love button or the like button and tell us where you're watching from. I have a few questions that was sent to me. So if you have some questions for address that you want Aidan to address, please don't hesitate to post it on the comment box or message me directly. Okay, so how are you doing? How was?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a mad day, so quite busy getting things ready for the moving on to the new job. You know,
Okay,
um, the company did everything that they could to try and keep me stay, which was nice. But this is a nice opportunity for me, so I'll be actually going to the London Fire Brigade.
oh,
Um,
okay,
the supervisors and all that about mental health, like
yeah,
traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, depression, things like that. So that all starts on the 1st of November.
wow, good luck, man. I the that job is really nice. I
Yeah,
mean,
really looking forward to it.
yeah, wow. So when are you going to start with this one?
I start on the 1st of November.
Okay,
So
yeah,
not long, and the pilot actually starts on the 2nd of November. So the program's already it's already ready. It's their own product, so we're going
mm-hmm.
and then just doctor it if it needs to be
Yeah,
after delivered on the 2nd, and then we're ready to go. 2,000 staff over a 2-year period, so an interesting challenge.
wow,
Yeah,
yeah,
but I've
yeah,
always wanted something like this, so um I'm really, this is something I can actually say that that I'll enjoy doing, hopefully.
yeah, yeah. I bet that's gonna be fulfilling.
Yeah, will do.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you've basically trained, um, given training about security, about all this. Maybe it's a new phase
it is,
in yeah. So yeah, but yeah, yeah,
so looking forward to it.
yeah, very much. And I'm looking forward for you as well. I mean, these are things that basically, if I'm given the chance, I would love to do. Yeah, especially
Oh,
with how things are going, mental health is really like a big issue that we need to address.
yeah,
Yeah.
very. And it's good to
Yeah.
see hope that it's getting now as well,
Mhm.
try and get away from this stigma
Yeah, that's true.
that not everybody's sitting on top of the TV looking at the couch,
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have every day sometimes our adversities just get
Mhm.
been there myself often enough. So it's just knowing, the brain gets sick just like any body organ.
Oh yeah, of course. Definitely. Definitely. I mean, at one point, everybody went through like a burnout as well from the lockdowns, from the
Uh,
changes in the situation. Yeah.
yeah, isolate,
So,
and you're with yourself all the time. You
mm,
know,
mm.
you don't have activities or work to do to keep you on the go.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah, true, true. Yep. So I'm pretty sure that they'll be taken care of well by you. That's it.
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay. So once again, good evening, everybody. Oh, hi, Jess from Jesse from the Philippines, and Abul Kalam, and Richard Pacman from San Diego. Okay. Before we start, I love the shirt. I'm gonna say it again.
I'll, I'll get you one.
Thank you, Anwar. Yeah, I mean that's new. First time that I saw that kind of shirt.
So only more.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, so that we can have more topics to cover. Okay, tonight, and especially we'll be covering quite a lot of your experience in Calis Ilustrisimo, how you basically keep on training, progressing, understanding Calis Ilustrisimo, and your competition side as well. But for the benefit of those who weren't with us Sunday for the test run, um, um, let's start first with your even just a quick one with your journey to martial arts before you got into FMA, and what competitions did you do?
Right. So, as a youngster growing up in Belfast, my first exposure to martial arts was probably through Bruce Lee,
Mm.
and there was actually a bit of a gun battle taking place, and me and this guy were crouched down behind a car.
Hmm.
And he started to tell me about this movie that he's seen, where
Yeah.
the where the dragon, and the
Oh yeah.
way that he was describing this guy, I was just completely and utterly glued to every word to what he was saying, you know. And at one stage, we even forgot what was taking place around us. So that
Yeah.
was actually my first introduction, and so I became like a bit of a fanboy, you know. And
Hmm.
a few years later, my first actual that was my first actual exposure to FMA, where there was a Bruce Lee convention held in London in about 1979, and Dana Asando and Jeff Amata, they were invited over as guests, and they actually did a full demo um,
Hmm.
of Eskrima, and they also did the Game of Death thing, you know, with the music and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You know, I had eyeballs like a laying hen, you know, so completely blown away.
How
So
how old were you? How old were you then?
17,
17. Okay. All right. So
yeah,
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 that must have been like quite a sight.
it really was, you know, because I'd never seen anything like it before, you know,
Hmm.
and so that was my first exposure, and then it was kind of it was actually stored for a bit, you know. I mean, in Belfast in them days, you know, there was judo, there was karate,
Yeah.
uh, there was even the odd little kind of kung fu club here and there, but there wasn't really a great deal. And
Hmm.
Dublin would get exposed to Master Tori, you know, remember the Thai boxer?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so things slowly basically started to grow, but it didn't happen for me really until I actually moved to London.
Hmm.
Um, and again, I suppose it's like a fish doesn't know that it's in the water until you take it out.
Yeah.
A bit like that for me when I moved over here. So I was looking for something to do just to mellow myself out a wee bit, because my intention was actually to do a bit of boxing.
Hmm.
So I found this place in Covent Garden, and I went in. You know what I mean? I went in looking for this little small Chinese guy, you know, with the long beard that
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
answers to my questions.
Yeah.
He he could tell me everything about life, zen the whole lot. But instead, I got a 6'4" big Glaswegian guy, and he was very, very much the opposite, you know.
Yeah.
But his learning was very, very much combative.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I stuck with him.
Mm.
And so then there was a freestyle Tai Chi pushing hands event coming up where you're actually with the days when we had the platform,
Yeah.
and I thought I'd go for it. You know, just I hadn't really started that long, but I thought I'd give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know something? I'd get up at 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. I used to get on London Tube and stand and not hold on to anything, so I could learn to go with the flow with my
Yeah.
balance
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
then so that was it. And then that opened doors. That actually I ended up going to Taiwan, Hong Kong, Florida, Amsterdam, and all over the UK doing it for the next maybe 3 or 4 years. And then say about the mid 90s, 1994. Um, that was probably when I started really looking at other stuff. Um, I didn't feel I could basically, I needed a break. And I think looking back now, because there was a lot of it that I didn't really understand,
Mm-hmm.
because I got hooked into this traveling competitive thing,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And so that's when a friend of mine had an unfortunate incident on a bus involving a knife, and he wanted to basically research FMA, and off we went. We went and basically looked at a few places, and we ended up in Brick Lane with Jude Tucker and Pat O'Malley when they were doing Rapid
Yeah.
Honor.
Yeah. Shout out to Jude and Pat.
Jude and Pat, yeah, they were a right double act, weren't they? And so we had a go, and we put the armor on and everything, and had an absolute blast. But I got hooked and he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I just basically stayed for a while, and then you see it was already, like going through its own evolution, because they were all fantastic competitors. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I was just a rookie, like, but I mean, back in them days, like, they were strong. They were good at what they actually did,
Mm.
and and there was a good brotherhood and all that they had, and
Mm.
sisterhood. Yeah, off they went, but they they came from that Bob Breen faction. So when they went to the Philippines, they started making their own contacts. You know what I mean? And then their art stemmed from there. You know,
Mm.
so when they would go out to the Philippines, they would spend time with the masters that were
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. Yeah.
A few of them are. This is going back kind of like early 90s, and that was before I came on the scene. You know,
Okay.
so yeah, that was good fun, and but the journey kind of took another direction after I did the World Week Half.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think I was about 2002, and then that's when I met Shamim.
Okay.
He did my corner, and he was telling me about Illustrissimo and how it's kind of more blade orientated, and that
Yeah.
was interesting because bladed weapons I was familiar with doing the saber form
Saber
and
formula.
the straight sword, with Tai Chi,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
was, but obviously not to the level, to the
Mm. Yeah.
intensity that he was training at.
Mm.
So I hung out there for a while, and then we all went over to the Philippines together, and that's where I met Master Tony and Mang Rami Makapagal, Arnold. Tom the Tang, and a few of the other characters. So I think we were there for about 2.5 to 3 weeks. So
Okay.
that was quite interesting.
Ah,
So that's where it kind of it more or less it started from.
okay. All right. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so um, you started from let's have just a quick recap. So you started in is that in Brick Lane with Pat O'Malley,
Pat and Jude,
Pat
yes,
and Jude,
yeah.
and
That
then you went off slightly out of FMA training to pursue other stuff. Was it?
no, I left the Tai Chi stuff more or less, and then I get into FMA.
Mhm.
So when I basically joined up, there was rapid harness
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
rapid combat, but I was kind of starting to take more of an interest in to the weapons aspect. I just liked the feel of what we were
yeah.
doing.
It's kind of different, especially with
Yeah,
the sword training of Tai Chi is
complete.
completely different from the Filipino martial arts.
Well, the one thing that it did come out, because after practicing the blade from the Philippines, when I compare the a lot of the blade forms are like battle. They're like battle
Yeah,
forms.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Not necessarily a one-to-one aspect. In some cases, yeah, but there's a lot of kind of military kind of you're out there in battle type of influence I could see when doing the forms.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
but
yeah,
the Illustrissimo thing, now that was I had to basically unlearn to learn. Again, similar principles to Tai Chi, because there's no real single body movement. You're using your waist, you're using your shoulders, your
mm,
feet. So every more or less practically every part of your body
yes,
has a
yeah, of course, yeah,
so,
yeah, that's
so
true.
that I found exclusive in comparison to what I had actually done before. You know, hence why I just stuck a helmet on my head and started throwing missiles at me. I thought, here we go now. Uh, so from that perspective, that was different.
Yeah,
And when I mean unlearn, when you're actually doing the Tai Chi hand
yeah,
form,
yeah,
and your leg, say, is kind of straight at the back, which meant that when I was doing some of the movements with Master Tony, I had a habit of dragging my leg.
mm,
Oh,
mm.
and it was basically, and it was just like a 4 count, um, and it got that bad. He was going to tie them together, and not tying your legs together. So one leg moved, the other one would go. And
Yeah, yeah,
the first time it's happened, so that's what I'm saying about unlearning to learn.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah,
break another habit step
yeah,
to what that
yeah,
was.
yeah. Because I mean, you have been learning Tai Chi for a long time, so
Yeah,
your body has already created habits.
that's it. Yeah,
For you to be able to accommodate now the new set of habits to be able to make Kali's illustration more effective for you, you have to unlearn some of the Tai Chi moves.
yeah,
So yeah, I do understand and agree because I've been there a lot of times,
yeah. It's
unlearning, relearning
That's
stuff.
it.
Yeah,
You have to learning something completely different that has something. The meaning's different.
yeah,
The situation's different.
yeah.
But I'm actually beginning to go back round and get into Tai Chi again.
Mm,
I'm older. Um, there are aspects of it that I can understand now that I couldn't then.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. That's
Um,
true.
Funny enough, all my physical preparation for the tournaments were all Tai Chi based.
All right. Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, all of
That's
it.
good to know. Yeah, because some people would basically to prepare themselves for tournament, they would rather go for like a type of conditioning that
Yeah,
almost simulates what's gonna happen in the tournament. But
yeah.
basically, you do it the other way around.
Well, in a sense, to be honest with you, that there was a level of intensity
Okay.
where we'd be punched with weights for
Yeah.
20 minutes.
Mm.
And back in the days when we were doing the other tournaments, a lot of rolls, forward rolls, back and forward,
Mm. Mm.
handstands, and so I mean a lot of the condition was quite up there. So
All
I
right.
elements of that and introduced it as part of my preparation.
Mm.
Because when you're set, kind of thrown out with the weights, and then you pick the weapon up, you
Yeah.
can put it in your hand, so
Mm. Mm.
just that we extra snap.
Yeah, it's actually interesting to know that when you prepare for your competition, you basically take a few training methods from even from Tai Chi itself to bring it to your repertoire of conditioning.
Yeah, yeah, especially in the mornings. I would do that. They have like an internal strength package.
Yeah.
I do the 12 exercises of Neigong, and then I would do the weights, and I would do a bit of stick work. Then I would go to work, and then I would meet Richard afterwards,
Mm-hmm.
and we would go to a place down in Bethnal Green, and that's when we started doing the work.
Okay. All right. But just basically to let our viewers know that even in Tai Chi, there are certain types of competition that you can actually join in, right? So
That's
it's not just forms, but they have the pushing hand as well.
They've got pushing hands. They've got full contact on
Mm-hmm.
the platform. My teacher was actually he won the Southeast Asian um, Chinese full contact tournament,
All
and
right.
I think it was in was it Singapore? And they used to hold these every. I'm just going to take it downstairs, Tom.
Okay. All right. No worries.
Um, and they used to think they used to hold that tournament every 4 years, and
Mm.
all that camp that was all part of the Wu Dang group.
All right.
I mean, they were all full contact fighters back in the day,
Yeah. Yeah. With that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
his teacher, Master Chen Ting Hong, he was some character, and they used to call him the Tai Chi bodyguard.
Tai
You
Chi bodyguard. Okay.
know, yeah. So yeah, he was something else.
Mm.
Which, to be honest, was a bit of a shock to me because I never associated it with that. To me, it was something mellow. It was,
That's a common
yeah,
conception of what Tai Chi is. It's mellow.
yeah, something that
Yeah.
you would do, with pan pipes playing in the background. One of
Yeah,
these,
that's true.
and it was full on. It was really, really intense, and it's great to see some of the guys now that are still there, and
Mm.
sometimes they put wee clips up, and oh, they're so sharp, and it's just so good to see.
Hmm. I've got here a picture that you sent me. It's the one that I think this is a Tai Chi competition, and you seem to be on top of a table. Is that
Yes, that was the back in them days. Now, before I came along, that was the second. I mean, that's going back about 31, 32 years ago,
mm-hmm.
31 years ago. And they used to put you on a platform.
All right?
And the whole idea was to get the guy off. but it's very easy to elbow him, to punch him, so that wasn't allowed.
Yeah, yeah.
You could throw, you could grapple, and you would fairly get leathered in there at times. But there again, there is technique to it,
Mm-hmm.
fairness that I lacked because I was just going in there like a brute, you know. But after a while, you can see that the pushing hands is like physical listening skills. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like a sensitivity drill, picking up the intended of motion of of the partner that you're with. And some tournaments actually specialize in that, especially in America. I mean, America will score you based on what you counter, as opposed to what you.
Yeah.
If you go in there, you're scored, and how that would be diverted, as opposed to going in there with all guns blazing. So they're very much about that. Yeah,
Ah,
in China, in the Chen village, well, they just go hell for leather, and that's more of a like a round tie table, and some of the stuff that they do there, like, is pretty much, it's almost like a grappling. Well, it is a grappling, but
okay.
there's that aspect of going with the force, controlling the force, and diverting the force to the void. So it was pretty much about that. Good
Okay.
fun.
Yeah,
But they,
definitely.
they had to they had to do away with that because there was some bad injuries,
Hmm.
legs and eyes and what
I
have
bet,
you,
yes.
hitting off the side of the platform.
Hmm.
So then they changed it from that to moving step and static.
Okay.
It was
That's
a
interesting.
bit more safer.
That's interesting. Yeah, yeah. I mean, actually, it's even I myself. It's very rare that I see that those types of competitions in Tai Chi now. Most of
Yeah,
the competitions that I've seen are basically more on the forms or the pushing
that's
hand
right.
or the
Yes.
pushing hand. Okay,
Yeah.
I've seen competitions and pushing hand, uh, but not much of because it's almost like you're going back into the Sancho
Well,
free for yeah.
that's correct because
Mm.
there was a lot of the guys that did Sanshao tournaments,
Mm, I see. Okay.
and they fought in Europe, and
Mhm.
they fought. I mean, Dan Doherty would actually hold the Sanshao tournament as part of his yearly
Mm.
championship that he would hold. Usually, it's every April, and he's been knocking them out now since 1989. And so the first few tournaments were kind of focused on the freestyle pushing hands,
Yeah.
the weapon forms, the hand form. Then he introduced Sanshao into it further down the line.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, while we are basically like talking about the competition, um, was this? What are the things that you managed to, or the lessons, the experiences that you got from competing in Tai Chi that you managed to bring to FMA and beyond it? Because yeah, beyond FMA as well.
That came later. The because, for instance, I had a break.
Hmm.
Because I went into that place where it was just a blur for a few years.
Yeah.
That's when I basically developed the addiction and the drink problem. Uh,
Okay.
so once I got that sorted, though, um, I think it was about a lot of things happened together when I reflect back. Because the thing about the issue is about when you stop anything, for instance, drinking or anything along that's connected to that,
Hmm.
you're dealing with the person
Yeah.
who caused you to drink in the first place. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
So it's almost like being born again. You're relearning certain aspects. You're getting to know yourself.
Mhm.
So, with all that going on at that particular time, when I first went to or went back to the Philippines with Richard. Richard is still is very very much my senior, and that was a real. It was a great experience, you know. That's when we were training with Mang Rami, Macapagal, and he's got a flair when it comes to explaining things, and also has this kind of insight as to what you're about as far as expressing yourself with the weapon. And I mean, we did some stuff and whatever, and I suppose even at that stage, I was just getting into the experience. But the next year we went, that's when I started to ask myself, well, why?
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you could see that the like of Richard, you know, he had that flair for the theory,
Mhm.
um, and for the teaching and whatever. So he has that kind of a sharp mind. Well,
Okay.
it never really interested me. So that's when I kind of asked myself, well, why am I doing this? You know, is it for the experience? Is it just to tell people that you're there or what?
Mhm.
And then that's when I discovered a magazine that I was looking through, and I seen this picture of a couple of guys, and it looked, yeah, they were competing outdoors, beautiful hills and blue skies, and it mentioned Cold Steel Challenge,
All right.
Vancouver, California. So that was it. Ba-doing, you know, that's, but I made an entry for it. I said to him, look, I'm going to start giving this a go. But, you know, how old would I have been about then? Probably about 49. And I was thinking to myself, you know, people were going, are you nuts? You're too old and all this type of stuff. And after what you put your body through, all this madness. But I went. Now, here's something interesting. I wanted to know everything before I went out there. I practiced practically, you know, all the moves. And I would then basically rotate these, you know, almost like India series,
Mhm.
Pluma Cruzada, you know, Vertical and Bogo de Lobo,
Mhm.
Retiradas, Rompidas, the whole works. So I literally went round the clock.
Yeah.
And I basically had a self belief that that's what it takes because I'm a bull in China shop. Me, I come from a background, hit first and ask questions later. So it's
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
forward blast, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And um, my my general natural body makeup is I'm quite big across the shoulders, so I can throw a wee sting in there, you know.
Mm.
Well, check this out. So when I got the cold steel, right, I went in there, you know, almost like it felt as if I jumped over somebody's back fence
Okay.
into their back garden, you know. You had all these guys, for instance, and you could see a lot of people kind of knew each other,
Yeah.
and they were all big. You know what I mean? And there's me sitting there, because if I stood up, you could probably see my trainers in your passport photograph. That's the way I felt. We're all giant, you know. My God, if that guy was to sit in the rainbow, he'd probably make it smile at the size of him. And so there was me and my son there, and we weren't really kind of a lot of people there.
Okay.
The Bahalana there were came down from Stockton. You know, you had a big Lamego type of presence,
Ah. Okay.
and then you'd Ron Beliki's, his
Yeah.
connections and what have
Yeah.
you, and a few others. Like I just because that was my first day.
So you had a
Well,
big groups there, actually.
we never really engaged at that stage, you know. Um, and but the thing is, I walked in there, you know what I mean, with like an imaginary warrior, you know. And I thought, right, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm practicing this. And I come up against this guy, and he is a wonderful human being. But I call him my teacher because of that day. Because me and him, oh, what do you hear? So because I was in the over 40s,
Hmm.
I'm looking around, thinking, well, he'll wonder, nah, nah, couldn't be him. You know, I'm trying to figure out who's getting into this, because I wasn't really seeing, and maybe nah, he looks a bit too old for crying out loud. When he was born, the dead sea was probably sick, so they're hardly going to stick him in. And I'm trying to look around, thinking, well, see when they called the what do you call it, the over 40s.
Yeah.
You know that scene in Robin Hood, when the old one, that is, when King Richard's in the barn and he
Yeah.
takes off the monk outfit and they're all wearing the crusader. Well, that's what happened with all the friggin' judges and the referees. Soon as the what do you call it, rumbling, you know, and as me for fuck's that's it now, you know, and here they were practically metamorphosizing, you know, before your eyes. And I thought, Jesus Christ, I'm going to get caught up like a kipper here. So now the thing is, though, I'm still going in with that offensive, right?
Yeah.
Get in
Yeah.
and out, in
Yeah.
and out. Well, this guy, Troy, and you got to get the image. I'm going in there, right? Imagine me there in this imaginary Celtic warrior outfit. Do you ever see them cartoons? You know, when they use the sword and they go, and then the wee guy standing there in his boxer shorts going like this
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what he turned me into.
It's the other way around.
He schooled me big. You know what I mean? When that man finished with me, the only thing that was missing was a side salad and a whack of pita bread. He carved me up like a kipper. And but the thing is though, I went away totally elated. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, we all know each other well now, and they were all joking about it because here I'd come from the other side of the world. One minute I was there, one minute I wasn't. The night fight was a wee bit better now. We had a bit of a draw, and then we went for the last point. You know, so it wasn't all donkey. You know, but but I thought, right, this is it. This is learning, and
Mm.
I went over in my head how this guy approached.
Yeah.
And once he marked my card, he knew more or less. And I mean, suppose I shouldn't really say what he was thinking,
Yeah.
because I don't know. But he gave me such a lesson, and he's such a tremendous artist, this man, like. And he just waited, and every time I broke the boundary, he was able to hit on me coming in each time. Boomf, boomf, boomf.
Hmm.
And rather than me basically say, right, let's alter this, I tried to go in even faster
Yeah.
because I believed that power and speed would win the
Mm.
day.
Mm.
Boom. And that was it. And there's me standing there like Goofy with the protruding teeth and the straw hat at the beachside, you know. And but going away, then at when I went back to the Philippines because I was serious about this.
Hmm.
I wanted to. My promise was to myself: don't sacrifice what you've been taught.
Mm.
If you're going to go out there and put yourself in front of everything, and my interest was more outside the FMA. kind of
Yeah.
remit, you know. And but I couldn't get any bladed related fights in the UK, you know, until later, of course. And so I thought, don't compromise what you've learned. You know what I mean? Barney, shut up. Introduce what FMA is, what you know of its culture, what you know of its weapon, and do it out there fighting. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and I even said to myself, I'll not compromise it, even if it's going to cost me a win. I would rather walk away learning something
Yeah. That's
than
exactly. Yeah.
than
Yeah.
winning going in the back door.
Mm, mm, mm.
So that's basically that was it. So when I went back to the Philippines, then everything was Mang Rami and Richard brought everything down, and that's when I realized um, less is more and more is less. Meaning that, you know, you don't need. I remember I said earlier about doing this technique, learning this one, doing this, doing so and drown all the clock.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What happens is you overload your mind so much with intellect. The brain that matters, the movement part of the brain, can't cultivate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when the brain can't cultivate, what does it do? It goes back into caveman mode.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
That's
that's
true.
what I did. So by basically keeping it at a lower level and repetition and looking back when I come, this was basically in London. Richard had one hell of a job because he literally had to tame that animal in me
Yeah.
and then and turn me into a thinking fighter
Mm-hmm.
at 50 years of age. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
a hell of a task, but he did it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I wanted to choke him, and sometimes, by God, I know he wanted to choke me. Like, but we got through it, and then the year later,
Yeah.
it's better and better, and then I started bringing things home. You know,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. Yeah.
so the lessons that you learn from it, the lessons that you learn from your losses. In order to understand, though, its meaning, you have to liberate yourself from the ego.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. I
Don't
do agree with you. Yes.
point it in yourself, you know, if it doesn't go your way. And I've seen that. I've seen chairs fly and all sorts. But, you know, I was at peace, though, and I can honestly say that because I was just glad to be alive
Mm,
and going out and doing this. And I stuck to my plan that I'm going to educate myself here. So that was the
mm.
beginning of my wee cold steel number.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you've raised basically very good points when it comes to competing and when it comes to losing in competitions. It's how you discover yourself by yeah by basically learning from all those losses that you had when you compete. That's how you discover yourself. That's how basically you try to understand more and to learn more how to overcome those moments.
That's very true. Um, there was an old Hollywood reporter, Joe Hyams,
Hmm.
who wrote it's a little small white book called Zen and the Martial Arts, and he talks about his journey in the '60s when he was training with people like Bonsu Han,
Yeah.
uh, Ed Parker, Bruce Lee, and what have you. Really interesting book. At the now I can't quote it word for word, but at the very beginning of the book, it says that in the dojo, the guy that you're up against, he's not
Mm,
more or less your enemy.
mm,
He's a partner.
mm.
to enable you to overcome your fears.
Yeah, exactly. That's very true. Mm.
So there's a wee bit of that going on, because, I can understand, in some cases that if you're at a specific level and people think and are aware that you're of that level, it's a big risk to put that on the table, like, isn't it? Well,
Mm.
me,
Yeah.
I didn't care because I was just doing it for myself,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
I had some tremendous learning from it that also helped me when I had a few issues out in the street.
Hmm.
So absolutely wonderful.
It's nice. Those are priceless. Priceless.
What we used to do, Tom, was is you see, this is the other thing. When you look at the end result, I know, for instance, there's been a lot of battering
Hmm.
about, for instance, say the like a weak half
Yeah.
or competitive or that word sport, you know.
Hmm.
And in a sense, I tend to see it as an opportunity to blow someone else's candle out in order to make yours shine brighter, to be honest.
Mm. Yeah,
Now,
that's true.
the actual arena is only the end product.
Mm.
That's what you're putting out into the table.
Yeah.
But when it's like Christmas dinner or
Hmm.
Thanksgiving, you go out, you buy the materials. Some people enjoy doing this. You then prepare them. You then roast the bird. You then
Mm.
coordinate.
Mm.
And the end result is when you're sitting down eating,
Yeah.
exactly what this is. See, when I went, because I would search all over the world online for things, and I'll go, oh, right, I'm going to do that one. And then I would give Richard a call and say, listen, 6 months' time, this is happening. And then we would get to work. And so I would get up about 5, do the some of the Tai Chi conditioning,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
bring the weapons into work, start doing things on the break. Then about a couple of times a week, we would meet about 8 o'clock. I'd stay in town, then go to the Arches over in East London.
Hmm.
We would work out there. Then there's the other bit, the paying for it, where I'd literally work 7 days,
Yeah.
so work at night as well. So all that going on, but you see the buzz it give you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is coming from somebody that was addicted to buzzes.
Mm.
See that feeling of determination,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean, take it out there and just get your neck right out there, no matter what's in front of you. Just stand there and deal with what's in front of you.
Mm.
It was fantastic. So all that preparation is very, very much, if not, because whatever happens at the end is the product of the work that you've actually put into it.
Yeah.
And
Exactly. Wise words.
I would probably throw, you know, if somebody wants to do week half, let them do it.
Mm. Yeah.
Enjoy doing it. They
Mm.
enjoy it. The brotherhood, the fun, the crack,
Exactly. Yeah.
whatever. Get in there and do it. Bash
Mm.
away your heart's content.
Mm.
And but things, just because cars evolve, it doesn't mean to say we treat what we had before bad. You know what I mean? What
Mm.
you did before served its purpose to get you where you are now. So yeah, very much so in that way. Kind of
Mm.
pat
Yeah.
it. Let people do what they gotta do if that's what makes them smile. Or if you're
Exactly.
not smiling, stick a coat hanger in your mouth.
Those are very wise words, precious man. Especially to be for the FMA community to basically to hear from somebody like yourself who have like competed in different platforms. Um, Before we go on, we had some few comments here. Abul Kalam said, "Great work on the mental health, mate. Well done." Yeah, he said Burner Club in Brick Lane, long time ago. Although he's not sure of the name of the center. And
The,
then,
it was the Brady Centre, I believe.
all right, okay. And then you got Paulo here saying, "What an endearing vibe this guy emanates."
Oh,
Uh,
you ever said that? Cheers.
yep. So he said, "Yeah, what he just said is the path to rapid and reliable functionality and opens the path to self-discovery within the art. Good man, send my regards."
And
And then
thank you.
Carlo Vicencio, "We are proud of you, brother." Hey, Dan.
Oh, Carlo. It's good to see that he's here.
Yeah. So good evening, guys. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, Carlo was part of. He would help me out in the Philippines as well.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. So while we're still in the talking about the competitions, we are going to show some pictures here of you competing. And at least if you can give like the context of what is happening in the picture. So this looks like a knife competition. Can you see it?
No,
Oh, you can.
can't see it. No,
This is where you're wearing. You're in a fencing mask. So
am I
how
wear-
come? Sorry,
am I wearing all black or am I wearing the Irish shirt?
you're basically wearing black trousers. Looks like the Irish colors shirt.
Right now, that would have been in 2016 at the last Cold Steel Challenge.
I thought so. Yes.
And
Okay.
I had just, I was actually in May. I actually fought in the Jian. There was this Chinese international martial arts tournament in Los Angeles, and I fought in the sword division. So they were all Jian Chinese straight sword
Oh, okay.
came from a representing Filipino arts. And
Hmm.
I would probably have to say that was probably one of I peaked then. That was probably my best performance.
Okay.
When I say performance, I mean from a skill point of view. Um, everything just clicked. You know,
Mm-hmm.
mind, body,
Yeah.
the the cultivated approach. It all come out,
Mm-hmm.
and it come out rationally. This time I'm doing the waiting, or if I'm not, I'm baiting them in order to, all the things that I just was never used to doing. And that was just beautiful that day, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So um, I went back to London again, and then 3 months later, I went back to Ventura to compete in the last Cold Steel.
All right.
I got, I had to pull out because that's when my injuries of the legs started to appear.
Okay.
But I got me and a wonderful martial artist, uh, Rick Morales. Um, me him fought in the final. We drew and we went down to the last knuckle, and he got the point in the last one.
All
Love,
right.
you know. So he I think he may be from the Richard Bustillo camp,
Okay.
you know, and so that's what that was.
Ah,
That
okay.
in the knife division then.
So this is one of the competitions that you joined in, that you basically outside FMA platform or competition.
Yes, the Cold Steel was free for all.
I see. Okay.
It wasn't people. You get people
Regardless of style.
who lived in the mountains coming down. And the last session or two, then we had HEMA. The HEMA people were joining up, and they did very well. And the previous year, they did a joint tournament. I think it was in Torrance, California.
Okay.
Good because Lynn Thompson, the president of Cold Steel, would make a lot of HEMA weapons, you know. So
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
land that was even starting to attract more people, you know what I mean, from different types of disciplines.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
Okay.
I'd already basically had a number of HEMA events under my belt at that stage. Um, and it was terrific, basically learning from them as well. And especially for instance, my first HEMA event was in Coventry, and that would have been Fed Camp, which is a massive event apparently, where people, they come from all over the
Yeah.
place.
Is this the one that you sent me a picture of, where you're holding maybe like a
A big long
broadsword? Yeah.
back, yes,
And
that
you
would,
got a sort of a tent behind you, red and white tent.
yes,
Yeah.
that
So I'm showing the picture now.
yeah, that would have been Fed Camp. And what we did, me and there was, I can't remember the names, but there was like an outdoor like tournament,
Hmm.
went into a pool, and we just fought for 2 days solid. I must have had about 32 fights altogether,
All right.
and really held myself. And um but and then you'd come up against some guy, and he would keep getting the better of you. What was his name? Was it Darren? And he was fantastic. But then after a while, you work them out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so that was a brilliant experience.
Ah. So after this experience in Coventry, have you been involved with other HEMA competitions or activities as well?
Yes, that my next one was funny enough. I was after Christmas. I'm on the internet and I'm looking for stuff to see what's advertised for the summer.
Okay.
And I thought, and then I seen this, the Art of Mars.
Okay.
It was the worldwide HEMA championship that was held in Hanover. I think it may have in Germany, and it may have been 2014 or 15. And
Okay.
so I thought I'll send him an email. I sent him an email, and as you do, he was a bit kind of hesitant. He was, well, we would prefer you do HEMA lessons. And I thought, well, what's the whole point? I thought I'm not going to do that. It's
Hmm.
not because it was an us against them, but if I don't believe in what I've been taught and learned, then what's the point if you're going to adapt to something else because
Yeah. Yeah.
that's in, you know what I mean? To me, that was selling your soul. So he says, take up a few lessons. And I went, actually, I actually think I'll be all right because I wasn't going in. I put myself down for the knife fight,
Hmm.
put myself down for the Dussac. The Dussac sword is the closest to the range and size of an FMA sword.
All right.
Right, so that's what I did. So I entered the Dussac and the knife. So I was told, look, because what they had first place in longsword, rapier. Um, what's the other one? I'm not too sure. Don't hit was the English backsword, and may have been a saber, spear, and a few other things. And there was a few representatives there of Jogo do Pau, the Portuguese
Yeah.
type stuff as well. And well, me and this guy had this knife fight. And this fella, honest to God, like he was, I mean, this guy was sculptured. You know what I mean? I was at the stage that if I bent down to tie my shoelaces, I was looking for something else to do while I was down there. And I'm this guy, honestly, like this guy was just tailored, you know what I mean, by God himself. Well, we went at it, hell for leather. And at the end of it, I honestly, I was that tired. You could have tied my tongue to my ankles. Do you know the judges come over and they
Mhm.
said, we disallowed 17 of your strikes?
Wow.
And I'm looking at him. He was, there were beautiful strikes, but there weren't kills because the way that they did it was,
Hmm.
now you know these flag wavers.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Every time I see them guys, I get nervous in case they land a friggin' plane. And what actually happened was is they have the measures, you see, because back in the day, the people who carried the blades, they were all
Hmm.
lords in your middle upper class.
Yeah.
So obviously there was assassination attempts, so they all wore chainmail.
Okay. Yes.
And his defense was my slashes because Filipinos bare chested. You know what I mean? There's a lot of in the Asian art. There's a lot of slashing, isn't there?
Mm.
And slashing this guy up like a kipper, and they disallowed him because they wouldn't have been seen as a killer blow. Well,
Oh,
on me,
interesting.
but um, I fought in the Dusak the Saturday and the Sunday,
All right.
and I won that tournament.
Oh, you won it.
Won that tournament, and I also got Fighter of the Day
Wow.
after being told that I wouldn't, you know.
Mm.
And but they were wonderful people. See, they really, really were. And I've got fond memories, and I tell you what, see them guys that fought in the long sword, they were fantastic. You
Oh,
get
wow. Okay.
sparks coming out of the blades, you know. And what was interesting is their faintings are like
Mm.
arrows,
Yeah.
because it's such a long, awkward weapon that, you know, as you know yourself, you have to execute the strike in a certain way or
Mm.
you have completely exposed. So
Yeah.
there's painting going on, you know. And yeah, so that was excellent. What was weird though was they're all over there. You know, this was on the Saturday when we're all qualifying, and one of the guys' schools, right? Because they didn't think I would have a prayer, you know, because again, the stigma of FMA just being stick and
Mm.
very, very much a strict bladed tournament. So, the last fight, this guy, you want to see the size of him, Tom?
Mm.
And see if you were to post his shoulders, they would have two different postcodes. He looked as if he fell asleep in a greenhouse. And so he was their Goliath, in other words, you know. And what was his name? Johan or something. He stood up,
Yeah.
and when they called fight, you want to hear the rumbles of him. And he came up, he had the dust sack away
Yeah.
behind him. But as he came down, I sidestepped to the head and hit
Yeah.
him such a slap right across the stomach.
All right. Okay.
Well, afterwards, I went up to one of the organisers and says, listen, there's nobody left to fight. And he looked at me, said to say, "Why are you standing here? It's me. We've all fought, and I'm the last man standing." And he was, "Have you not fought Johan yet?" And I went, "Is that him over there?" And he looked over, and he's buckled over like a deck chair. Come on. Yeah. So that was my first HEMA tournament.
Okay.
That was the very first one. And
Yeah.
what was good was afterwards they were intrigued about it.
Hmm.
You they picked up on things like lutang
Yeah.
and salto and a
Yeah.
few others. So we were able to sit down and talk and discuss. And you see, that's what I'm saying about introducing
Yes.
culture, you know,
Mm.
and the art. That there's a lot more to FMA than
Yes.
sticks,
Mm.
and really ended. They were very respectful, and these guys are top fighters that
Yeah.
compete. That big, massive swordfish,
Mm.
European. That's a big thing over there. So I thought, yeah, this is what it's about. You know what I mean? Beat the living daylights out of each other, and then we'll sit down and talk about how we did it. Yeah, that was enjoyed that one.
Wow. That was well. I mean, besides competing, when you compete outside the FMA platform, it's especially with the HEMA now, it's almost like you're ambassador of FMA as well, which
That
is nice.
was the whole idea.
Which is nice. Yes.
I wanted, and because a lot of things have changed since then. You know, that was about 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, the actual last tournament that it did would have been with Ron Belake's Bladed Challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of years back. Just before that would have been 2019.
Hmm.
And I was down to do the Jogo de Pau Portuguese. Um, they were doing an international gathering. I had the room, the hotel, the whole lot booked, and do you know, I entered a tournament and I hadn't a clue. It was the same with Germany. I hadn't a clue what I was doing. I entered a tournament with a weapon that I'd never seen before in my life.
Really? Okay.
That's where I got the respect from, you know.
Mm.
And I had never seen, So when I'm holding it, I'm thinking of an FMA blade
Yeah.
because of its range.
Yeah.
It fought on that principle, range, timing, and
Yeah. That's how it goes.
I was done. Yeah, so
Yeah.
could have been a bucket, you know,
Or a flip flop.
or a flip. Yes, which make brilliant hand guards, by the way.
Oh yeah, true. That's very true. We got a we got a comment from Carlo here. When Aidan delivers a cut or a stab, you will know it. It comes it comes in with full intention that is both precise and beautiful. The shifting of his feet and weight on the floor unites all movements into one fluid motion. That is a joy to behold.
I gotta love him. You know what I mean? That's a lovely thing to say.
Yes, it
You know,
is. It
yeah.
is. Yeah. And I mean, um, especially if you've got somebody like Carlo who has been who work your corners, then they basically they see how you move.
Carlo used to help me out at Mang Rami's place in Magallanes.
All right.
He's moved now. I think he's in England now. So he would always come round and he'd be there. You see, because my emphasis changed, this is why, if somebody was to come up to me, despite my longevity doing it, if
Hmm.
someone come up to me and says, "Will you teach me Illustrissimo?" I would say no, but I know someone who could.
All right. Okay.
I kind
Fair
of,
enough.
I learned it, not as I did, what I learned wasn't as the arts really at everybody's teaching. You,
Hmm.
I would be spending time working on strategies and
Yeah.
learn a lot, and you know, from that, even though that's all part of it, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
There's the journey where you go through so you can teach the people who've never done stuff before.
Hmm.
I would work out with people.
Yeah.
Um, now I'm actually learning learning it for what it is and doing it for what it is. Um, but I have to pay homage to Richard
Of
because
course.
he without him, I
Of
don't
course. Yeah.
think I could have achieved what I did.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Of course. Yeah.
so that he so and that just goes to show you, you know, that that's a combination both of what he learned, but also his
Yeah.
own ability. The
Yep.
work,
Yep. His own experience. His
yeah.
own. Yeah.
So he was basically like he was pretty good. But nowadays, like I've met up with a few people from home. I'd like to put a dent there, you know. So if I was ever to basically do it as to teach, you know, I would like to do it at home over in
Mm-hmm.
Belfast, and I've hooked up with some lovely people, you know, Niall and Mark, you know, and a few others,
Mm-hmm.
and when the opportunity comes, we work out together.
Oh,
I
that's good. That's nice. Yes.
I, I like to see it, you know.
Mm. Mhm. So, okay, let's basically just have one more photo here of your competition, and then I would like to go back slightly to your journey within in Calisthenics. And also, you had a chance also to train with Ron Baliki, isn't it?
Yeah, that what I do now is Illustrissimo di Campo
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Amigo. Oh, he's a wonderful human being. That man's a bloody magician. Do you ever see guys that have the top hats and they pull rabbits and furniture and everything out? That's like with martial arts.
Mm,
If
mm,
you mention something, no, do you know it comes out of the hat? You know, absolutely amazing fella.
yeah.
But what's that wee picture?
Yep, okay. So this is where you're shown here in red body armor with somebody in blue, and I
Oh,
think your hands were being raised. So this must be somewhere in the Philippines.
I didn't want to do that. In fact,
Okay.
that 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 didn't go as well as I maybe thought, really, because to be honest with you, that was just a pilgrimage.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So things were just a wee bit tight around that time, and I just thought my actual original intention was to basically go and try out, not to invest in it as a style, but I
Yeah.
wanted curious about Tabata
Oh, okay.
because of its length,
Yeah.
you know, and also having familiar with the different type of blades and even sticks.
Yeah.
I to see to try it out, and then I came across this other um, gentleman who was training in this weapon called a yamming,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a flat stick that used to
Yeah.
beat the,
Flat stick. Yeah. Yeah.
and that fascinated me, to be honest. You know, so I wanted to go over and basically try that out. You know, but it never happened. And
Okay.
it was asked. I was asked, would I be interested in going to the Antique Mountains to learn from Master Frank Sobrino, who I'd never heard of. And I thought, well, and this is on the level, I thought, well, at least I can say I've done something. That's the way I looked at it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So spent a few hours up there. and it was great. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
He, what do you call it? He was very, very, very knowledgeable in what he does. Um, I couldn't remember now what we did, in all fairness. But we basically trained in the 2 days, and he says, I would like to, I would like you to fight in the Denigyang Festival.
All right. Okay.
And I says, no, that's not what I'm here for. You know, I mean, I'm coming with peace and love, the last thing that I wanted. And plus, when I make them decisions when I'm ready, when
Yeah.
I'm, and
Yeah.
as explaining her the work and
Yeah.
that's all it was. Just
Yeah.
a random, I wasn't really interested. I just didn't get a good feeling about it. So I palmed them off and I says, I'll think about it. So back down to the city, and then I get the phone call from the R fella, and he basically says, "Oh, I hear you're fighting in Denigang Festival." I says, "No." I said, "I think about it." "Oh, it's already arranged."
Oh. Okay.
And what I was told now, because it got a wee bit kind of, you know what I mean, tense, you could say, because it was a festival. It was an honest festival. Everything was all done in goodwill and whatever. And I didn't see it anything more than that. But I felt I can't turn around and say no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
the gauntlet was down. You know what I mean? But I was told it would just be for sheer exhibition. He hit, I hit. That's and then we'd stop, hug, shake. Or that's the way. That's where it was sold to me. Well, you know the SM shopping malls. Well, that's where it was held.
Okay.
You know how big they are.
Yes.
So we were up, and Master Frank didn't show up because this was supposed to be an event to introduce me to the FMA community. You
Yeah.
know, and so he didn't weigh in, and and then all of a sudden, this guy out of the blue come over, and he's just going, right, the fight's going to be 3 rounds. At your opponent over there. We want to see what he call it, plenty of skill, defense. Not just bang, 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 bang. No, no weak half stuff. Just go. I'm going. Hold on a second. Is this a is this a full scale blow leg? He was. Yes. I'm going. Them buggers have sat me, thrown me under a bus, and have done a runner. Well, this is where it got a bit kind of hairy.
All right. Okay.
I went for a wander, right?
Okay.
And I was watching these. There was these wee ladies getting their feet eaten by them wee fish. You know that wee therapy thing they do.
Yeah.
And next minute, the tannoy and what do you call it? The music stopped. Now at this stage, now I'm on my own, right?
Yes. Yes. Of course. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, special event in the second floor. Ireland versus the Philippines. And I
Oh.
go, holy Jesus. You know what I mean? And I thought, oh, frig, here we go. So we went up and we gave it what for. And I won it.
Mm-hmm.
And but it was great crack, and it wasn't anything more than what it is. But I think one or two people got upset because I was trying to explain to my friends at home that they announced it as Ireland versus the Philippines, but the
Mm.
was what it made me feel, but it was interpreted that I was trying to make it out bigger than what it was, you know.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so we never really bothered after that, so
Okay.
It was, yeah, but I was glad to do it. Went over there with Jack Jones. You know,
Hmm.
they put it to me. I didn't know who it was. I thought, well, if you want to if you want to fail, then we'll give it a go. We'll put a
Yeah.
good. And he was a lovely wee man too. So yeah, that was great, and so was the festival.
Oh yeah, the festivals in the Philippines are quite great.
Oh, fantastic! I was seeing
Yeah.
like two men away, lad, for the whole week out there with the dinner gang. It was great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was great fun.
Ah, okay.
That was the only I think that was probably the only stick fight I had since 2002, because all the other ones were all blade orientated.
All right. Okay.
You know? So yeah, good experience.
Good experience. Yes, exactly. Okay. So, um, you have pretty much like trained in Calis Celestissimo. You started with Mang Tony and Mang Romy.
Yes,
Yeah. And did you? Who else from who else from the Cali from the KI instructors did you manage to train with?
I probably couldn't really say. In all fairness, at the beginning, right, Shamim was pretty much the main teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I would have just had certain time. Master Tony would take me under his wing once or twice
Okay.
because of problem. But the stuff that I did was very, very much at a basic level. Um, I didn't hook up with Mang Rami until about 2010, roughly.
Okay.
In 2000, I just come out of rehab, and I went there 6 months later, and he was able to show me something that I'd never really kind of experienced before, especially after Mr. Miller carved me up like a kipper. That's what I'm learning about distance and measure,
Yeah.
you know, and that as a strategy, as a philosophy as well, for
Mm-hmm.
me, because I'm into all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
That was kind of priceless. And then, of course, then Richard would apply it both technique, strategy, principles, the explanations that he would talk to me in my language, and believe you me, it's very difficult to talk in my language. And but he would talk in a way that that I got it,
Yeah.
and um, that was an excellent partnership, and I'll always be grateful for him though. You know,
Okay.
because the good thing about it is that don't get me wrong, like I had me odd red ears too. I've had ribs broken, I've got bones cracked, I've got all sorts. Um, what was interesting though, Tom? Phoenix, Arizona.
Ah, okay.
That was a HEMA event, and that's when I started. That introduced me to do it as a uh, for charity
All right. Okay.
event. And what they did on the second day was they had six weapons and a dice. So all the weapons were numbered. So you had a long sword, you had a hook.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know the scythe, the little hooks.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
One of them. You had a knife. You had a spear. You had an English backsword. So you had six different weapons. And so two guys would come up together and you rolled the dice. And whatever number came up, that was your weapon.
Wow. Okay.
And sometimes you were drawn with a knife up against a spear, so you didn't know and you had to work it out. You had to just get in there and give it what for, so that was great. That was fine.
That that is that would have been like an awesome experience. Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, getting used to fighting with a sword is one thing. You get used to its range, You get used to its tactics. You get used to getting in and out, but having to fight like with different weapons.
Yeah, especially with the what do you call it, the like the crescent hook, like the
Yeah,
sights,
the
you know.
sight. Yeah,
What the
yeah.
hell? I felt like your man out of Peter Pan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because different weapons would mean like different characteristics, understanding different characteristics of how you use it. So there are general things that basically stands like rhythm, range, but measurement. But I mean measurement. It's gonna be different when you're holding the spear
Completely
and then the
different.
knife. Yeah,
Can't point. You can't basically aim the point because it's hooked. The
yeah,
point is new.
yeah.
You know? And I'm thinking, what am I supposed to do with this thing?
Be like the Grim Reaper.
I'll send you the clip.
Oh yeah, that would be it. That's been nice. Okay, so uh, um, I will basically just ask a question. How are you furthering your training in KI at the moment?
Well, at the moment, for instance, because of the lockdown and injuries, I can't really go anywhere. So I've been doing some Zoom lessons with young Brandon Ricketts,
All right, okay.
and he's just dynamic. He's very very dynamic. I was taken back, by his approach, his understanding, and obviously, having all that information that's obviously been left to him, but his own natural ability.
Mhm.
Plus, bumped into Brandon, and if he put himself out there, and he learned just like I did from the tournament circuit, uh,
Yeah.
and so I feel that we can relate,
Mhm.
in a lot of ways, and he's shown me his touch because, see, to be honest, like the whole thing about style and system, can sometimes that word in itself can defeat the very purposes the way you're doing it, because of who's authentic and
Yeah, that's true.
that, I'm thankful that, despite what was said, that I actually have no gain to covet or
Hmm.
an art. It's in a because I've never really kind of, even with the Tai Chi, I never got to that level, that stage,
Yeah.
because I enjoyed the one-to-one type stuff. So now though, I'm taking it. Hopefully, once my leg gets better, I can resume again once the borders drop, and then hopefully, if God willing, hook up, with Richard and get our wee things going. You know.
Yeah.
So, but Brandon's taken me through it as the art, and I'm really enjoying it. He's a phenomenal young man. He really is.
That's nice. It's actually good that you managed to continue your training, even during this pandemic. Yeah.
Mm. But the now with Ron Balegi is one of life's special people.
Mm.
In life, that we do sometimes be graced by those who are special. There has to be, because of what they give. You know,
Yeah.
either that will be in painting, inventing, design. All these people that we've had throughout the years. I put him up that he has definitely got something creative, and he you have to go further than the hand and the blade, depending. And I've seen so many people where the balance aspect, I don't mean necessarily in martial arts as such, but
Hmm.
balance can become more or less an obsession, and they're
Yeah.
not with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's the same with what do you call it? Certain things that we refuse to accept about ourselves. The whole issue about fear, for instance.
Hmm.
In I touched this in some of the security training,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I remember one guy saying, "I don't fear anybody,"
Okay.
and I said to him, "Nobody." He was nobody, nothing. He says to me, "Well, I want you to take this, you know what I mean, and think about it. But there's two things: you're either lying or there's something wrong with you.
Hmm.
Because if what you're telling me is true, then there's a few chromosomes missing from your brain because we need it.
Yeah.
Tell me this: if it's a busy traffic road, if the green man isn't flashing, would you just walk out?" He was, "Of course I wouldn't."
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Tell me, what instinct are you feeling that prevents you from crossing the road?
Hmm.
Wearing a red suit, would you do a shortcut over a field if there was a giant bull there with a big ring in its nose? Of course I bloody wouldn't. As
Yeah.
me, what is it? See, fear is a stigma. It's not a weak word. It's part of our survival.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
only hormonal response that hasn't evolved from the day of the caveman, and you
Yeah.
have it. As me may tell you something, fear, and I'm not lying, fear has saved my life. I don't know how many times where I've had to bolt um, to get out of the way.
Mm.
Otherwise, it's all over.
Mm.
And in a sense, you don't ignore fear; you embrace it.
Yeah.
You
That's true.
know, bring it
Mm.
in.
Mm.
Let's do it. Let's get to know each other.
Yeah.
And by
Exactly.
doing,
Yeah.
then that's when you can start overcoming the
Mm.
things difficult. You know.
Yeah.
So that is all part of this journey, you know, enabling a person to really to really basically put themselves and express themselves. Because I would, what I mean by that is that if I was tense or had a wee bit of a subconscious stress thing going on, when I would go down and train with Richard, our expression would highlight that it's there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Off, my game would be off. I couldn't think, I couldn't focus, I couldn't concentrate.
Mm.
So my action is a product of what's going on in my head.
Mm.
So we were able to psychologize each other's behavior,
Yeah.
even,
Yeah.
you know, and all that pretty much is part of it. You know, it's not just standing there on the podium
Yeah. Of
holding
course.
on
Yes.
silver. There's
Yeah.
just so much to it, you
Mm.
know, and it's worth thinking about, before you start making comparisons to how other people
Yeah.
choose to be combative,
Mm.
you know. But you were going to ask about my teachings,
Yeah.
right? With Illustrissimo, Shamim was the first. Um, was with him for a while, and he actually, what do you call it, is probably the one of the closest, to the Tony Diego lineage.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I'd love to take that description back, but that's just the way it is now. Um, so, uh, with Abdul and a few of the other guys, and they are basic, they're great movers, no two ways about it. So my first introduction to the Philippines was through them guys.
Yeah.
We went out, we went to Tondo. I got off my head in Tondo. Had one eye shut, walking sideways, using my elbow as a guide. Me and Samuel Illustrissimo get into a bottle of brandy,
Mm.
and me and him finished it in our own. And you see, when I stood up, it was one step forward and four steps back. You know what I mean? I could barely
Yeah,
hold it together. But you see, going down there, Tom, and listening to the kind of older generation talking about their own history,
yeah,
talking about their own background, it
yeah.
was fascinating. And then somebody would get up and start showing things, and then giving you like a lecture as to why this is that. And it was just fascinating to
Mm.
basically listen. Looking back now, like it was, they were good quality times, like. And
Yeah.
then, but that bloody friggin' Richard and his damn durian fruit. Holy Jesus H. Christ. What in the name of God possessed our maker to make a damn fruit like durian? Honest to God, that fruit would make right guard turn left. He brought one into the hotel,
Oh
and he,
man!
and he stuck it in the fridge, and I ended up having a nightmare. And as me, I'm telling you now, Richard, see tomorrow, either that durian goes or fucking both of yous go. It stunk out the whole hotel
Of course, yeah, it would.
in
It would.
St. Aliens in Manila. It was like a wee family, and he brings a friggin' durian in.
Of all the things that it's gonna bring, durian.
Why not bananas or mango or some of the other beautiful wee tropical? You can get lovely fruit out there, the melons and all. Freaking durian. Oh, it was horrible.
I can just imagine, man. You
I'm
need to have
telling you, I am not lying. I had a nightmare that one was chasing me through Manila. And I woke up freaked, knowing there's one in the fridge. Yeah, that was.
Oh man. That well, that basically that trip became very memorable then.
The what do you call it? I have to say though, the times in Magallanes were good, and you'd spend, as you know yourself,
Yeah.
the over here is kind of different. Over there you could be there all day and all night. You know,
Yes.
you're over there, and I'm not the best when it comes to long term concentration. Like,
Hmm.
but you'd sit and you'd stop and you'd have a break, you'd have coffee, you'd have a bit of
Yeah,
fruit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We even had, well, I never, they ritualized that bloody fruit, that durian, so they did. Him and my Rami get in there as if it was the last fruit I left. Well, I stood about 10 foot away with a clothes peg in my nose. Um, so, yeah, and we ended up going to, Batangas.
Yes, Batangas, yes.
We went there, and what's the Balasong village?
Yeah, the Barangay Balisong.
That's it, yeah. We went there, and we bought a few blades and all there.
Wow, okay.
So it was basically very eventful, and but the teaching and the learning was great. The patience and everything, like it was great. You
Hmm.
know, it's only me that would basically get clustered. However, in saying that, I would be not doing the community justice by mentioning a few unsung heroes.
Yeah, sure.
Um, there's Scott and Robert Vaughn, and they are phenomenal. Um, Scott actually won the Cold Steel Challenge. I think it may have been 2018. And it's the movement, it's the poetic movement where you can see body and weapon as one, you know. He has his own way kind of the way he kind of goes to the side. I mean, he's lost a lot of weight now, but back then when he was carrying it, but he was still so fast. And me, Robert, and Scott and Ron were outside in Ron's house
Okay.
3 days before the bladed challenge. And now Robert, he could make anything with his hands. But you see, when we all started to spar, I knew
Hmm.
he was going to carry it. I now thought Robert's going to walk away with all the belts in this tournament. And he did. Sometimes you'll come across where you can feel somebody's red eye. You know,
Yeah.
turned on for it. If you could actually picture it in an image, it's almost like you can see the lightning and sparks flying out of the side of their head. They're so lit up. And Robert was like that in the sparring. And I
Okay.
know this feeling doesn't come around too often, but when it does, man, you've got a fight in your hands. And he did. He won both belts, both the knife and the blade.
Wow.
And me, Robert, and Scott, it was the first time we did teams, and we won the team event.
Oh.
So yeah, these guys were Robert, for instance, working for Lynn Thompson. Lynn would be inviting all these martial artists from all
Yeah.
over.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I know Felix Valencia was around in the beginning,
Okay.
and then
Um,
Ron was his um, teacher, and I believe still is. Now there's a man that way, for instance, knowing and doing. Ron actually went and he had almost like a tumor, a lump about that size that was moved from his heart,
oh, really?
went for heart surgery. Yeah, this was no peanut, like, you
Mm.
know. From what I remember, it was quite a big nut. Yet he went on to win the knife division of the Cold Steel Challenge on that very year, which just says a lot about his heart and character.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that comes out on his on his teaching. And I mean, I love the man, like,
Mm.
he's never he's never left me behind. In any case, see, after the second Cold Steel or whatever, he always made sure, for instance, that I'd be involved in of what's going on. And he was also instrumental in me meeting a lot of people there and things.
Mm.
Just,
Mm.
you know, so yeah, he's one of life's flavors, that fella. I think, in a sense, from a martial art point of view, um, and I suppose just from my personal background,
Yeah.
you know, where you've got the beautiful relationship, because Diana's just an absolute trait of an angel.
Mm.
Very, very much her own scene. She's got her own vision. She's got her own set, and but what they have together and what they do, you know, because it's their life, and if that is what it does, if that's if that to me is an example of growth,
Yeah.
then I'm all for it.
Of course. Yeah.
Not a, it's not the black eye or the gaping wound. To me, that's what it is.
Mm.
The difference between a warrior and a fighter.
Mm.
A fighter will fight, but a warrior will fight for purpose.
Yes. Amen to that. 100% agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's nice that you actually managed to like train with them and you managed to meet them as well and become friends with them.
I think when I look back, probably about 12 years ago, when I was an alcoholic and cocaine addict, more of a drinker, the cocaine just helped me drink more. And I had 3 months to live. and at one stage I couldn't walk.
Okay.
Probably, maybe that could be a contribution to the ailment that I have even to this day. But 3 months I was given, and being a father and being a husband, I didn't care.
Mhm.
Honestly, didn't. Everything in my life was like a train going through a platform. It was going through slow, but too fast to read the sign on where you were at. So I didn't know where I was at. I'd wake up in football fields and all sorts, blood on my knuckles, all types of things, not knowing whatever. See, when you take that, and that was right up until I was about 48 years of age,
Mhm. Mhm.
somebody had told me that, by the way, you're going to stop doing this in May. You're going to go to rehab. See, the next year, you're going to go to the Philippines. And you see, in 10 years, you're going to have 4 or 5 world titles underneath your belt. Can you imagine what I would have said to him? You know what I mean? Said,
Yeah.
off your head. And when um when I'm in the company with a few of the guys over there, because to me, where I go, that's my one stop now. I've
Yeah.
done that now, and I'll continue the best, whatever's whatever's out there, but I'll probably limit myself to the Californian scene.
Mhm.
'Cause I'm past my peak now with the injuries and all sorts, but I won't stop. I will
Yeah.
keep going. And when I basically there, like, and I'm looking back 10 years ago, you know what it proves? See, when you're at your depths despair,
Yeah.
where you feel you're drowning and you're mistaking a wave for a float.
All right.
You know what I mean by
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
You think it's something that, and you think it's all over. It can change,
Yeah.
because I've had a phenomenal experience. Not just the, what do you call it, the fighting, competing bit, but the journey. You
Yeah.
And I've had my thorns as well. People that, you know what I mean, that you lose people on the way as well. We're not all perfect, and I'm not
Yeah.
referring to
Exactly.
myself.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But in a sense, that's all part of it. That's all part of the journey, the pruning.
Yeah.
And it's true, sometimes you can get a rose that will grow from a foundation of sand, you know.
Yeah.
And in a sense that, and I can say, I'm not by any shape or form a rich man. I can't say that I'm now basically sitting every single trip and tournament I have self-funded myself. And but what a bloody damn journey from 49 years of age, when I
Mm.
was practically told, 3 months,
Mm.
if you don't stop, you're
Mm.
going to be dead. And when I'm now, for instance, sitting down in fellowship, where's Scott, there's Robert, and Ron and Diane and a few of the others, and you can just feel that positive vibe, then you can just say to yourself, you know what I mean? This is it. This is as good as it gets. You
Yeah. Yeah.
And even though that, what do you call it? When I reflect back, with JJ Hervey's coming round, um, very, oh, he's one to get on. Very, very dynamic personality. Whatever, the memories of him coming round, our wee journeys to Badangas, going to the Pink Convent,
Mhm.
going to get the weapons, preparing for the. Yeah, it's. I never dreamt in a million years that something, that man, that state crawling out of the park on a Sunday morning, and how it just goes to show you that
Mm.
there is a way,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
probably one of the reasons why I teach what I do.
Mm. Yeah. It's I would basically say that you're one of the people that I come to know, that managed to have a very nice journey when it comes to FMA. So it's not
Oh,
because
absolutely.
it's not just about like getting skills, getting ranks,
Yes.
fighting, but basically you were more about experiencing it on its fullest and managing to establish like relationship with people as well.
It,
So
it cut a journey for me.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
FMA to me was that machete cutting
Mm,
a path, and it led me to rich pastures.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm very blessed to basically to have you as my guest
Oh,
because
listen,
it's
it's been
it's
an absolute
basically your
pleasure.
journey is a rich journey to FMA. I would
Yeah,
say
absolutely.
it's
Very, very
very
honored.
very
Very
meaningful.
indeed.
Yeah. So I mean, on that note, um, what what words or what would you like to say to the FMA community today? So
Just like any art, but sometimes in life, there's more tools in your main box than a hammer. Otherwise, you'll spend your life seeing everything as a nail. If somebody, for instance, happens to practice in a different way from what you did, if somebody wears a glove and another one doesn't, if someone wears a helmet and another one does it, you're blinding yourself to the beauty of what it really is. Don't be afraid of what makes you feel good.
mm,
An FMA can be a positive instrumental tool to do that. It's not like what it was when you get your what do you call it, generations going back.
yeah.
You know what it's like, Tom. Here we can barely carry a pen, never
Mm-hmm.
mind a blade. And don't try and replicate that. You know, think of you, think of your environment, and allow it to help you to grow. You know, and in a sense, it's like three people going into a forest: a botanist, a woodcutter, and an artist. If the botanist is going under the ground to study the life of the plant, and the artist is looking back to get a panoramic image, and the woodcutter's looking for the width of the bark, don't criticize the woodcutter with your paintbrush,
Yeah.
and don't criticize the botanist with your axe. Just do what you do and become better than what you do, and allow it to make a good impact in your life, because it's almost like when it crosses swords, it's a bit like people fighting over the colour of the paint on your lifeboat. But what they don't realise is a friggin' hole in the hub of the ship.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's true.
You get caught up in things that just there's no end to it. Live
Mm.
and live the best way that you can.
That is just diamond. What you just said. Yeah, yeah. And thank you very much for that.
It's been an absolute pleasure, sir.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it, and
Yes.
thanks very much for acknowledging, what I've done, and I hope to continue,
Yeah.
because it's given me a good life.
Yeah. I mean, there's. I would say there are a lot of people who are proud of what you have achieved now. You got Patumali, you got Jude Tucker, you got Shamim, you got the late Mang Tony Jago, you got Mang Romy, you got Brandon, basically like proud of what you have achieved. And like Ron, Baliki and everybody. So yeah.
Absolutely.
You had a nice journey. You had a full journey in FMA. And I salute you.
Very much, sir.
And I salute you. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. So yeah, so thank you very much for coming in for as our guest. And yep, we need to set up our meetup.
Well, absolutely. and I've got some information to bring to you.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
All right, then, brother Tom, you look
Okay.
after
Thank you very
yourself.
much.
See
Yeah.
you soon. Bye
Stay
bye.
safe.
See you.
Bye. All right. So thank you very much again, Idan, for coming on to our show. And thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Um, and I do hope you managed to catch the wise words from Aidan for everybody in the FMA community. If you missed it, please don't fail to watch it. He left a very positive and positive note for everybody uh, for us to digest. Okay, so uh, this is Guru Tom Pena. Well, it's already getting late now, so see you next time. Signing off.